People are usually more dominant in either their left brain or their right brain. I am one of the people that isn't dominant in either, but rather I have qualities that fit both. The left brain is the language center. It's detail-oriented and it's where facts rule. I can speak 4 languages, which include English, Bosnian, Spanish, and German. Here's a little clip of me speaking gibberish in each language. So I think everyone knows that I can speak English pretty fluently. um, Pero yo también puedo hablar español y yo estoy en la clase de español más o menos para 6 años. Mój prvi jezik prije engleski je srpsko-hrvatski i ja pričam ovaj jezik kući sa mamom i tatom. Und ich kann Deutsch sprechen ein bisschen, aber meine Mutter und mein Vater kann Deutsch sprechen viel besser. The right brain controls creativity and musical and artistic ability. I have been involved in music since the 5th grade and my main instrument is the violin. Currently, I am a member of Fremd Symphony Orchestra. Here's a clip from our winter concert. Having an easy temperament means that a baby is cheerful, relaxed, and predictable in feeding and sleeping. My mom would wholeheartedly agree with this. I was super punctual when it came to when I would fall asleep and when I wanted to eat. And I was always a smiley baby. Looking at how I was as a baby, that has completely stuck with me. Every single day when I come home, I'm really hungry and I always eat something around 3:30. I also brush my teeth every night at 9:30 and I go to bed at 10 o'clock. Erik Erikson developed 8 different stages that a person will go through in their life. The stage that teenagers and people in their 20s will face is identity versus role confusion. In this stage, teens work at refining a sense of self by testing roles and then integrating them to form a single identity, or they become confused. I would say that I have accomplished this stage because I know the type of person that I am. I'm someone that's willing to help a friend in need, someone that loves her family, someone that loves reading for hours, and someone that will do anything to make people laugh. Another aspect of my identity is that I'm a member of the Viking Log, and that has really opened the path of journalism to me. When it was time for me to decide on what my major would be, I always felt like journalism was my calling, and it's definitely something that I love to do and I can't wait to get involved with in my future. Operant conditioning involves pairing voluntary actions with consequences. Reinforcement is any event that strengthens the behavior it follows. Under this category, positive reinforcement increases behavior by presenting a positive stimuli. My parents used positive reinforcement to get me to stand up in my crib on my own when I was a baby. Whenever I would stand up, my parents would clap for me or they would give me this cute little doll's hat to wear. This obviously got me very happy as a baby, so I would stand up as much as possible to get that reinforcement. Another type of operant conditioning involves punishment, which is any consequence that decreases the frequency of a receding behavior. Application punishment weakens a behavior by adding something negative. As a little kid, I would bite my nails nonstop, and to get me to stop, my mom would paint my nails all the time. So whenever I would try to bite them, I would have to deal with a really gross nail polish taste. I still do this to this day just because I know that I will not stop eating my nails. Long-term memory is the relatively permanent and limitless storehouse of the memory system. It holds knowledge, the skills we know, and consequences. Within long-term memory, there is explicit memory, which is declarative, meaning that it requires conscious recall. I have a really strong episodic memory because I remember really vivid details from certain days in my life, and sometimes I feel like I'm watching that moment, like it's a movie in my head. In this picture, it was my 4th birthday, and for some reason I was really grumpy, and I didn't want to blow out the candles just because my uncle was there. As soon as he left the room, I finally blew out the candles, and it was like this huge celebration. My implicit memory, which is stuff that doesn't require conscious recall, is really strong too. Over the summer, I barely touch a pencil or a pen to write stuff down with since I'm no longer in school. Even if I'm away from writing, I still know how to write and how to use a writing utensil because it's something that I can do without any effort. Obsessive compulsive disorder is an anxiety disorder that is marked by unwanted, repetitive thoughts and actions. I would say that I have a mild case of OCD with things being in order. My room is a prime example of my OCD in action. Everything is always in order and nothing is ever outside of the place it's supposed to be in. If I see that my mom put something somewhere else, I have to frantically put it back to its original spot or else I feel really, really weird. My mom recently redid my bedroom and I was so disoriented for the first week while being in there just because nothing was where it was supposed to be. Another place where my OCD shows is where all of my books are kept. First, I file my books based on height, but then some books are thicker than others, so I need to arrange it to that factor. But then the taller books are in front of my shorter books just because they're thicker, and then it's this huge battle, and I don't know how to organize my books anymore. It's a never-ending struggle for me, so I really have to refrain myself from buying any more books just because I feel like I'll have a mental breakdown at some point over how I'm going to organize my books. Howard Gardner identified that a person can be intelligent in multiple areas. He concluded that there are 8 multiple intelligences, which include linguistic, logical, spatial, bodily kinesthetic, interpersonal, intrapersonal, musical, and naturalistic. I have a high sense of linguistic intelligence. I can take on many languages mainly because I love to be able to communicate with as many people as possible. When I went on vacation one year, I was able to talk to people that were visiting from Bosnia and Spain. Something that comes naturally to me is that I can read text that I'm saying for the first time out loud very easily. I don't need to think of mnemonic devices while I'm studying either, just because reading text out loud lets me study and I do better on tests by doing that. I just found this random article on Fox News and I'm reading it for the first time and I'll just read a few paragraphs. A lucky boy in West Michigan will be traveling to South America in a couple of weeks to see the world's best soccer teams compete for the World Cup in Brazil. The trip is free and paid for by McDonald's. The fast food restaurant picked 26 young soccer fans between the ages of 6 and 10 to go on a trip of a lifetime. Fox 17 cameras were rolling as 7-year-old Isaiah Tolan thought all he was doing was blowing out the candles on his birthday cake, but instead he got the big birthday surprise. In Stanley Milgram's experiment, he wanted to see if people would obey even if they didn't want to. In the end, about 2/3 of the people experimented decided to comply fully. I would say that I am a very obedient person. Whenever my mom tells me to do something for her, I never question it just because I think I should do it. My mom always asks me to set the table for her, and I could easily just say, "Oh, I think Dad should do it," but I never do, and I simply obey. Another thing that my mom always asks me to do is make coffee for her. Even though it's a pain to do, I still obey because, well, just because. Daily hassles are minor stressors that we deal with each day. I have a ton of things that get on my nerves. I really hate the sound of candy wrappers opening. In Spanish, we watch TV shows all the time, and there's always someone that has to open the wrapper during some important part. And there's no way to quietly open them either, so you lose either way. Another daily hassle is I really can't stand bad grammar. Call me a grammar Nazi, but it's just so annoying to read stuff online and to see that people still don't know the difference between there, and there. It's become so bad that I watch a show on YouTube called Your Grammar Sucks, and it's just some guy making fun of the grammar people use all over the internet. Psychologist Alfred Adler believed that a person's birth order has a lasting impression on their future personality and their lifestyle. Adler said that an only child will be spoiled, their parents will be overprotective, they will want as much attention as possible, and they enjoy adult company. Whenever I go out with my friends, my mom is constantly on edge about whether or not I'm safe, and she will worry about me until the moment I come back home. I don't mind it really because it just shows me how much she cares. I also agree with the fact that only children tend to be very organized and they're perfectionists. As you saw earlier, my room, my desk, my bookcases, everything really is super organized.